The Galactic Council had ruled the known universe for 12,000 years. They controlled trade routes, managed planetary systems, and decided which species deserved protection and which ones deserved destruction. When their scouts discovered Earth in the year 2087, they saw nothing special. Just another primitive world with creatures made of soft flesh and weak bones. Ambassador L of the Empire stood before the council chambers. His 6 eyes scanned the holographic image of Earth rotating slowly in the center of the room. He made a sound that translated roughly to laughter. "These humans have barely left their own moon," he said. "They fight among themselves. They pollute their own air. They cannot even achieve unity on their single planet. Why should we waste resources studying them?" The council members agreed. Earth was as a Class 7 primitive world. No contact, no protection, just observation from a distance. But the Empire had other plans. They needed resources, and Earth's solar system contained rare minerals that could fuel their war machines for centuries. The Council had rules about harvesting resources from inhabited systems, but L believed rules were made for weak species. In 2091, the first mining ships entered Earth's solar system. They ignored the communication attempts from humanity's space stations. When human vessels approached to investigate, they destroyed them without warning. 17 ships, 412 humans, gone in seconds. Earth's leaders sent a message to the Galactic Council. They demanded justice. They demanded answers. They warned that humanity would not accept such treatment. The Council received the message. They discussed it for approximately 3 minutes before moving to other business. Ambassador L personally responded to Earth's transmission. "Your species is nothing," he said in the recording that every human would eventually see. "You exist because we allow it. Your warnings mean nothing to us. Return to your small lives and be grateful we do not harvest your planet for its water." Humanity's warning had been ignored. For the next 15 years, they took what they wanted from the outer planets. They established mining operations on Mars without permission. They redirected asteroids that nearly struck Earth. Each time humanity protested, each time they sent warnings, the response was the same: silence or mockery. But something was happening on Earth that they did not notice, something the Galactic Council failed to observe. Humanity was changing. The nations of Earth had spent centuries fighting each other. They had disagreed about borders, resources, religions, and ideologies. But nothing unites humans faster than a common enemy. Nothing awakens their true nature more completely than being told they are worthless. By 2106, the United Earth Coalition had formed. Every nation, every military, every scientist worked toward a single goal. They studied the wreckage of the ships they had destroyed. They reverse-engineered alien technology. They learned, adapted, and improved. This was what humans did best. They took the tools of their enemies and made them stronger. When they finally turned their attention back to Earth in 2112, they expected to find the same primitive civilization. Instead, their advanced scout fleet encountered something unexpected. The human vessel that intercepted them was enormous. Its hull was covered in strange markings that the computers could not identify. The ship broadcast a single message: "You were warned. Turn back now or face the consequences of your actions." Commander of the scout fleet laughed at this threat. His ancestors had conquered 100 worlds. His ships had burned civilizations that existed before humans learned to make fire. He ordered his fleet to attack. The battle lasted exactly 4 minutes. The human ship moved in ways that violated known physics. Its weapons cut through shields like they did not exist. When the smoke cleared, 12 warships drifted dead in space. Only Commander's vessel remained, deliberately left intact so he could carry a message back home. "Tell your empire what you saw today," the human transmission said. "Tell them this was our final warning." Returned to space and reported what happened. The military council refused to believe him. They accused him of cowardice, of exaggerating human capabilities. They assembled the largest war fleet in history, 2,000 ships carrying millions of soldiers. They would crush these arrogant humans and take Earth for themselves. The fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system in 2114. They found Earth's defensive line waiting for them. What happened next became known throughout the galaxy as the 12-Hour War. The name was misleading because it suggested the conflict lasted that long. In reality, the actual fighting ended in less than 3 hours. The remaining 9 hours were spent by human forces hunting down and capturing every escape pod. Not a single ship escaped. News of the defeat reached the Galactic Council within days. For the first time the council chambers fell completely silent. A species they had dismissed as primitive had destroyed the fourth most powerful military in known space. A species they had ignored had developed technology that surpassed their own. Ambassador L demanded the council authorize a full military response. He wanted every member species to contribute ships. He wanted humanity wiped from existence before they became an even greater threat. But the council was divided. Some members had grown uncomfortable with how they had treated Earth. Others simply feared what humans might do if provoked further. The debates continued for weeks while humanity prepared for what they knew would come next. Admiral Sarah commanded Earth's first expeditionary fleet. She had lost her brother in the initial attacks 23 years earlier. She had dedicated her entire life to this moment. When the Council finally voted to authorize military action against Earth, she was ready. "They think they can threaten us with numbers," she told her crews. "They think because there are 1,000 species against us, we should be afraid. But they do not understand what they are dealing with. We are humanity. We have fought ourselves for our entire existence. We have survived ice ages, plagues, and our own worst impulses. We will not be conquered by those who cannot even understand their own mistakes." The coalition fleet that approached Earth's solar system numbered over 50,000 ships from 30 different species. It was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. The Council believed it would be enough to overwhelm human defenses through sheer numbers. They were wrong. Humanity had not spent the past decades only building ships. They had studied their enemies. They knew their communication frequencies, their tactical doctrines, their psychological weaknesses. Before the coalition fleet even reached engagement range, human cyber warfare units had infiltrated their command networks. Ships began firing on each other as their targeting systems malfunctioned. Navigation computers sent vessels crashing into asteroids. Life support systems on troop transports began failing. Panic spread through the coalition ranks as they realized they were fighting an enemy they could not see or understand. When Admiral finally ordered her fleet to engage directly, it was more like cleanup than combat. The Battle of Saul, as it became known, lasted for 3 days. When it ended, humanity controlled the largest captured fleet in galactic history. Over 30,000 enemy vessels either surrendered or were disabled. The remaining ships scattered in every direction, their crews traumatized by what they had witnessed. But Admiral did not stop there. She had learned an important lesson from how the galaxy had treated her people. Mercy was viewed as weakness. Kindness was exploited. The only language these species understood was power. Within a year, human fleets had reached space. The empire that had mocked humanity, that had killed innocent people for resources, that had called humans worthless, fell in 6 months. There was not destroyed, but it was occupied. Their military was dismantled. Their leaders were brought before human courts to answer for their crimes. Ambassador L was among those captured. He stood before a human tribunal on the very planet he had once dismissed as primitive. The irony was not lost on anyone. "You were warned," the human judge told him. "Again and again you were warned. You chose to ignore those warnings. You chose violence over diplomacy. You chose cruelty over cooperation. These were your choices, and now you will face the consequences. The Galactic Council sent emergency delegations to Earth. They offered apologies, trade agreements, membership in their alliance. They suddenly remembered all the rules about protecting inhabited worlds that they had ignored when it suited them. Admiral met with the Council representatives personally. She listened to their offers, their excuses, their promises of friendship. Then she gave them humanity's answer. You watched us suffer for years. You heard our calls for help and chose to do nothing. You allowed them to terrorize us because we were weak, because we were primitive, because we did not matter. Now you come offering friendship because you fear what we have become. Your friendship means nothing to us. Your apologies change nothing. But we will offer you something the galaxy never offered us. We will give you a choice. She placed a document before them. It outlined a new galactic order, one where no species could exploit another, one where military aggression would be met with unified response, one where Earth would serve as the enforcer of these rules. Sign this agreement and follow these principles, and you will find humanity to be fair partners. Violate these principles, attack the weak, ignore their warnings as you ignored ours, and you will discover that our wrath has no limits. The Council signed. In the years that followed, the galaxy changed. Species that had once been exploited now found protection under human watch. Trade routes that had been controlled by the powerful became open to everyone. The old order of conquest and dominance gave way to something new. Not everyone was happy with these changes. Some species resented human power. Some plotted in secret to bring humanity down. But every time such plots emerged, they were discovered. Every time aggression threatened innocent worlds, human fleets appeared to stop it. The galaxy learned that humanity kept its promises, both the kind ones and the terrifying ones. Admiral retired after 30 years of service. She returned to Earth and lived quietly by the ocean, watching the stars she had once fought among. When reporters asked her about her legacy, about how humanity had risen from insignificance to become the most powerful force in the galaxy, she always gave the same answer. "We never wanted this," she would say. "We never wanted to be warriors or conquerors. All we wanted was to be treated with basic respect. All we asked was that our voices be heard. But when the galaxy refused to listen, we made them hear us. Our wrath echoed across the stars not because we are cruel, but because we had no other choice. Remember that. Remember what happens when warnings are ignored." The galaxy remembered, and it never made that mistake again.